And so we get to this pine cone, and he says to me, he goes, do you know what this represents? And I said, is it the pineal gland? And he goes, yes. And then we start this conversation of why these Catholics would have this enormous representation of the pineal gland, which they reference as the seat of the soul. And that this gland, which is in the center of your brain, is thought to be literally a third eye. And on reptiles, it actually has a cornea and a lens, this gland. Like literally, it's exactly where the third eye of Eastern mysticism is. And they've got a representation of it right here. And it's thought to be where dimethyltryptamine is produced. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this whole connection to it is so old that it seems like you go back to the John Marco Allegro stuff, you go back to the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are the oldest version of the Bible, the only version that I believe the only version they have in Aramaic of all those stories. And if he's right, if John Marco Allegro is right, it all kind of makes sense that these people were having these experiences much like the Greeks were with the Eleusinian mysteries, much like multiple different cultures in the Amazon, all over the world have experienced these profound ceremony experiences that lead to these journeys into the spirit world, these connections with higher consciousness, this something that when you're experiencing it seems very, very real, but also very preposterous when you try to explain it to people that aren't experienced. You know, it's like Hendrix. Like, are you experienced? Have you ever been experienced? Well, I have. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that. Like, mm-hmm. with that understanding that that's possible, the world changes. Because now you know that that's possible. You could live your whole life and not know that the most shocking, profound thing in existence is 3 hits away. Mm. 3 hits away. And all of a sudden, you're in a completely different universe in 20, 30 seconds. That's nuts. And the fact that that is dismissed, that people look at it as like, oh, you're just escaping reality, and you're like, it might be the source of civilization itself. Mm-hmm. It might be the source of language. It might be the source of the expansion of the human mind over a period of 2 million years, the doubling of the human brain over a period of 2 million years, which Terence McKenna felt directly coincides with the shifting of the tropical rainforest turning into grasslands, which would force these primates to experiment with new food sources, and these ungulate cows that were everywhere that would shit, and then these psilocybin mushrooms would grow in their shit. Observed primates flipping over these cow patties, looking for beetles and grubs and things to eat. It's everywhere. Like, you could see it all over Africa. If there's something on that, they're going to try it out. And if these things are trying it out and they're doing this over a period of 2 million years, and they develop language and culture and weapons, and they start thinking about things, and they become different than every animal around them. And this was McKenna's stoned ape theory, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. And Dennis McKenna, who is, a legitimate scientist, Dennis explains it even better, because he explains it with the actual mechanisms that your brain, that the things that fire up when you encounter high-dose psilocybin experiences that would lead you to the development of language. Glossolalia, the connection of sounds and objects and bringing things together in a manner of communication. Also, they realized that in low doses, it increases visual acuity. Mm-hmm. It mm-hmm. makes people more amorous, makes people hornier. They're going to have more sex. They're going to be better hunters because they could see better. They're going to be a little more sensitive to the environment. They're going to be more aware. Edge detection's different. There's like so many different things that happen that if you're thinking about what made people, it's a mystery. We want to pretend that we understand things because of the fossil record and this and that. Sure, we kind of understand, but every now and then we find a new human that we didn't even know exists, like Denisovans. What was that? Not even 20 years ago, I don't think? So now there's a whole other branch of human beings that they weren't even aware of 20 years ago. Whatever the fuck happened that took us from all the other primates that are still here and made us this, it's pretty profound. And I have a feeling that psychedelics were at least involved in that process. That's my belief. And my belief is that the Sweeping Psychedelics Act of 1970 that they passed essentially to target civil rights activists and anti-war activists. That's what they did. They wanted to go after the hippies. And they went after the hippies with MK Ultra, with Tom O'Neill so brilliantly outlines in his book Chaos. They went after it and they created the Manson family. They created that family. They taught that guy how to do that so that that guy would kill people and he would be a psychopath, and now hippies would be psychopaths. And then all this anti-war shit would just get stopped by sensible people. Then Schedule I, everything, psilocybin, marijuana, all down the board, everything becomes Schedule I, the most illegal of illegal things. So all these people who are experiencing all these Ken Kesey people and, you know, all the LSD people of the 60s, all those people become criminals instantly. And they just threw water on the whole movement. And it worked. It really worked. It was Nixon and all the people that were in charge back then. If you look at what happened from 1960 to 1980, this confusing era of the 70s where the effects are wearing off, and then you get into the 80s and everybody's doing coke and they have makeup on and they have big hair and the music sucks. It's like something happened. Something happened. And what happened was they completely removed the very thing that had changed culture so radically from the 50s to the 60s.